if you love my words, and favor my words, and have warm affection towards my words, your life will be favored and full of good, warm affection from not only him, but everybody else will respect us. If we disdain and loathe and abhor his words, Israel, his people, will become disdained, loathed, and abhorred by everybody in the world, which is exactly what has happened. But fortunately, he also said it can turn around just as easily. How will it turn around? We have to return to go back to favor his words, to love his words as if we loved him himself, to regard his words and do what he said. And if he said, eat unleavened bread for a week, and your children or anybody else will say, what are you doing that for? Tell them the story. And the Torah will be in your mouth. And as we're keeping his commandments, because the Torah is in our mouth, and we'll remember what he said, we'll regain the blessing. So one of the reasons why I'm doing this is to say, we've been told by just about every voice out there that what's coming is the tribulation, the Antichrist, the beast, and we're all going to get ripped apart. And so we better get weapons, we better get food, we better find a little hidey hole to crawl into, and hopefully we can weather the storm as it's going past. And I know a lot of people that are doing it. I'm not putting that down, but what I'm saying is, what did Yahweh say? What he said, you turn back to my words and I'll wipe out your enemies. You turn back to my words and I will make nature cooperate. You turn back to my words and I will make the carnivorous animals, the wild animals, leave you guys alone. And I will make all the peoples of the earth afraid of you. They're not afraid of us. We're afraid of them. They got the guns, they got the bombs, they got the airplanes. You ever seen this thing on the internet, the robotic mosquito? Has anybody seen it? It's got a little vial of, what are they injecting? What do they want to, well, this is one of the things, getting the, the vaccinations and all. What are they injecting? There's a little camera on that mosquito. Huh? RFID. Yeah, it's a liquid, but there's also that. But the point is, that's a little tiny mosquito. Somebody has figured out, maybe the people working for MIT or something, how to make this thing fly with this little tiny wings, a little battery, and a little camera. It's like, man, these guys got the tricks. It's like Batman movie, Joker saying to Batman, wow, where do you get those toys? Is there a, spy Home Depot type of a thing that we can go there and get this? We are up against some giants, bigger than Goliath. Do you know the one most frequently expressed commandment in the entire scriptures? Anybody want to take a guess what it is? Most often repeated. Huh?
I'm not going to say.
You're not going to say we talked this last week.
Love the God with all your heart.
Nope. No, he said, what's the greatest commandment? And Yeshua repeated that, and that was from Deuteronomy 6, I believe it was.
Isaiah 31:10.
Which is?
Fear not.
Oh.
We were talking about it last night.
I was here last night. Sorry. I had to look like a cool guy, at least.
Well, at least you were listening last night, and it wasn't so late you were falling asleep. The point is, look at Joshua chapter 1. Yahweh shows up and says, be strong and of good courage. Fear not and have no Tourette's. You know the Tourette's syndrome? It's a Hebrew word. Literally, it means to be shaken and quaking. It's a Hebrew word, Tourette's. Note, it says al Tourette's or low Tourette's. I can't remember which two. Aleph Lamed can mean power, motion toward, but it can also mean the negative. Lamed Aleph means negative, and it's either no or low. So it's half the time it says low tira, and the other half the time it says al tira. It's like, well, which is it? Why is it one or the other? The only way to know is you have to sit there and study that out. What is the word tira? Does it mean fear? It also means honor and regard and respect, reverence. So on the one hand, we're supposed to have honor, fear, and regard of Yahweh, so that's tira. And aleph lamed means motion toward, but it also means no. Well, why didn't he just say lo tira? So part of this study is you read these things and you find these problems in the text, this discrepancy. Is he telling us to fear them? Or is he telling us not to fear them? Sometimes aleph lamed is translated as motion toward, and sometimes it's translated as not a motion toward. Well, now you have to go back and say, well, how does this help? What is aleph lamed? It's the root of the word Elohim, and it's power or strength. But then you have to look at the whole context of everything else and say, time and again, Yahweh says, I've got a plan. I've got a plan, you guys. and he set up all the dominoes. But he didn't tell us what he set up. He just has been busy setting them up. And he says, this is what you guys do. You just walk there and stand there. Just walk over. We can think, this is nuts. These guys are giants. These guys got weapons. I can't just walk over there and stand there. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to hide and throw stuff at him. Or I'm going to go make a treaty with Syria. Then I'll come over. And what Yahweh said, there's one occasion, he was making this, I think it was Syria in the northern kingdom had an alliance. And so the southern kingdom of Judah said, we're going to be overwhelmed. Pretty sneaky. I'm going to have some international intrigue, espionage. So he went up to Syria and he says, tell you what, I will make a league deal with you guys, and one of you guys betrayed your deal that you had with Israel. I'll give you more than what they're going to give you. The king of Syria says, okay, sure. Man, I escaped that one. But then the prophet came back from Yahweh and says, because you did that, you blew the whole plan that Yahweh had set up. And because you did that, the one you made a treaty with is now going to be your enemy, and he's going to tear you apart. And there's nothing I can do. Yahweh says, I'm done. I'm done with this whole thing here. I'm no longer going to do what I was going to do. Say, what? You gave us intelligence. We live on the face of the earth. Now you're telling us not to use our intelligence and not to think? I had somebody in my own house tell me, she was a prophetess, her husband. He said, I used to be a real smart guy, but I don't think anymore. I just go by the Spirit. And they said, it's carnal to think. If you think, you're out of the Spirit. You're thinking. Carnal. The reason I put this word being here, this word being is used in the Scripture. Strong's number 995 and 996. Typically, whenever this word is used, it's used as 996, I believe, which it just means between. Between. It's used in Genesis chapter 1, I think it's verse 4, where he says, in Yivdal Elohim bin ha'or bin ha'chosek. He separated Elohim between the day and the night. It doesn't say between the day and the night. It says bin ha'or bin ha'chosek. Between the day and between the night. That doesn't make any sense. So we retranslate it and just say between the day and the night. He said between the day and between the night. That's what he said. We don't understand that phrasing. Why did he say it that way? So we retranslate what he said and put it in our own words. He knows our heart. Do we know his heart? Do we know what he said? What I'm maintaining is that if we go back and us conform to him, instead of expecting him to conform to us, then when he says, I separated between the day and between the night, then what it says is, separated between the day and between the night. And if my mind doesn't get it, it's because it's foreign. And it'll stay foreign until I go back and read his stuff. Somebody said to me, quit using all those Hebrew words. We don't understand it. If I quit using Hebrew words, you'll never understand them. That means I have to use more Hebrew words. Seriously. It's like, so the question is, there's a story, a true story. I think it was in Reader's Digest, and they made a song out of it. There's a ship in the heavy fog, and there's a light in the distance. And so the captain of the ship says, radio that other ship and tell them, get out of the way. And the light radios back, no, you get out of the way. Radio back, the captain to the, radio's back that this is the USS Destroyer, and I'm the captain of this ship. Get out of the way, I command you. The other one says, no, you get out of the way. This guy's now outraged, and he's saying, we're going to ram you. The guy radios back. I'm the lighthouse. You change course.
That's pretty good.
This is the lighthouse. This is Yahweh's engineered structure. This little picture down here for the summit of a guy in the watchtower. Picture a trellis, a rose trellis holding something up. Picture the staff with the snake. If you look to it, then you're saved. Picture Yeshua raised up, the noon psalmic on that image here. If I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. Who was he? The Word made flesh. If I be lifted up, I will draw all men to me. Is it the man, or is it the Word that's lifted up? If we're exalting the Word, which is the Mashiach, which is the Shem of Yahweh, is it the man, Jesus, that we're lifting up? Or is it the Word that materialized in the human flesh that we're lifting up to draw all men unto him. It's a different way of thinking. So what I'm suggesting, I'm not trying to desecrate the Savior, but what I'm saying is that there's a different way to think. And once you start thinking outside the Greco-Roman box, things open up, and all of a sudden it's like, what are we really doing? Now here's another, let me show you something disturbing. In case I haven't showed you enough disturbing things already.
Go down. Yeah. Here's the black ones are that one looks like it's getting going out now. Here's the red if you need to go.
The third commandment. Second commandment. Yahweh says. First one was, Anochi Yahweh El-Hekah. I'm Yahweh Elohim who brought you out of the house of, it's written down here. I'm Yahweh, your Elohim. I will impart to you my covering, or I will plummet myself. I'm taking you out of the house of Mitzrayim and the house of slavery. Do not cause to exist. Lo yehi laka Elohim achrim al panei. Let's just look at that to show you the benefit of learning these letters. Lo yehi laka Elohim achrim. Al panei. That's the first significant commandment. The first one is his identity, and then he says this. Now the question is, so what? He did away with the commandments. He changed the rules. Let's suggest that he didn't change the rules, but this was of the primary importance. Now there's this phrase, Elohim Achrim. You ever heard of it before? Once you start reading Hebrew, I noticed this phrase, Elohim Achrim, repeatedly throughout different books. And it was always Yahweh very upset with his people for regarding Elohim Achrim. What's an Elohim Achrim? Well, this one should be easy. The word Elohim, it's basically mighty one.